6:59 on my phone.
Nowadays, it's a gummy.
It's only 6:59.
That's
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Okay, well, I go by the analog clock up there.
Because he doesn't have a phone.
Do not spin off of that chair.
I'm gonna fix it.
Well, let's not delay any further. Welcome to the Sandy Neck Board's meeting. Tonight, I think, is the 14th of November. I am honored to be serving as the vice chair for the night. And before I call a roll call, if there is anyone that is making a recording of this, could they please let themselves be known to the vice chair? Seeing none, we will proceed with a clockwise motion.
It would be that way.
Christopher Kelsey, Barnstable Police Department.
Maureen Piccioni?
Bill Carey.
Chris Clark, Town Council Liaison.
Bill Monroe.
Nina Coleman, Sandy Neck Park Manager.
Donna Bragg, Sandy Neck.
And Pete Sampu, Vice Chair. So on our agenda tonight, let's act on the minutes from the 17th of October. Were there any problems so written? Yes, please, Bill.
One correction, the minutes indicate that I was in fact present, and I was in fact not.
Is there anything else with that?
Noted and will change.
Anything else?
The fire chief can bear witness that I was at work.
Okay, with just that one correction, can I have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
I'll make that motion.
A second? I'll second it, okay. And all in favor, aye? Aye. Cool. We are doing public comment while we still have everyone awake as the night gets on. Is there anything out there for the public to comment on? Okay, seeing none. Go with correspondence.
Not a thing.
No, sir, none.
Well, you're giving me a real easy night here after all the hard, okay, moving on. Staff report.
Thank you. We'll make this speedy. Nina Coleman, Sandy Neck Park Manager. And the report is as follows. I want to remind everybody we're on winter hours, so the ORV beach is open 8 to 4, and there are no campfires allowed on our beach. Gatehouse hours are by appointment only. And we remind everybody we do have merch available. Excellent stocking stuffers. So give us a call and we'll be able to set that up with Donna or myself or Hannah. Just a reminder that there are a number of hunts going on right now. The one that's the most interactive with the beach is the pheasant stocking, which is a pheasant hunt going on through Thanksgiving. Actually, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And a reminder that the ORV permits are going to be expiring on the 15th of January. So we will be receiving emails in December. That's going to give everybody an opportunity to download their information, make sure all of their paperwork is in order, and then we will be sending out the actual invoices right around the first of the year. So that gives us that 15-day overlap. We certainly don't want to be running around selling permits on the first of the year when people want to be out on New Year's, but we have that 15-day period to get those first blush of stickers out the door. Reminder, dogs must be leashed at all times unless it's a hunting dog. And the last thing I want to mention is that our fee hearing is actually tomorrow, November 15th at 11 a.m. And the chairman said he would be able to join us because the fee hearing is via Zoom. And so it will be, if you would like the link, you need to go, the best way to get there, the way I get to all of these meetings, frankly, is on the Town of Barnstable website, if you go to the calendar. Yeah, I know, it's the best way to get to anything. Just click on the day and then click on the link, and that's your quickest way there. So town manager will conduct that hearing, and there'll be an opportunity for the public's feedback. So.
Is that during the council meeting, or is that separate altogether?
November 15th, 11 a.m.
Okay, it's
Not a
not the
council
town
meeting.
council meeting. Okay.
Any questions?
Actually, I had a question on the pheasant hunt. Is that an expense to Sandy Neck, to your group? Is that something in your budget? Or is
So
that
the pheasant,
donated, or?
the pheasant are through the state, so we don't pay for them. That's paid through the pheasant stamp that the hunters need to acquire. And then staffing, there's probably a little bit of extra staffing, but it's very minimal. We just have a staff member come in earlier and release the pheasants. But it's a hunt that manages itself, really. The hunters need to sign in when they come in, they sign out. If staff is there, we check their licenses if we haven't yet. But really, by this time of year, it's the same people coming, and they're all, doing the right thing.
And the hunters then are hunting just pheasant? That's all it is? No duck hunting at that point?
Well, duck hunting is out in the marsh, and duck hunting is
I
a
believe- yeah.
confusing one.
Yeah, no, I think we're
Duck hunting doesn't open up again until December.
December, right. There was a short window for duck hunting.
Yeah.
That ended.
Oh.
And then sea duck will be in December. So what's being hunted on Sandy Neck right now are basically rabbits and pheasants.
Yeah.
The rabbits generally tend to be on the sandwich side, so there's not much interaction with the public with the rabbit hunting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Nina, could you please give us an update for the public record on what's going on with the alternative plan? Or is that,
That's coming up next.
sorry.
Okay. Actually, myself being an avid hunter out there, if once upon a time there were wild quail that I would occasionally bump into years ago. So while they are stocking pheasants, Trail 1 and Trail 2, there is possibility that upland game hunters can be throughout the entire neck, going after rabbits or quail. Occasionally
So did you
pheasants.
kill off the rest of the quail that are in Sandy Neck?
No, I think they just got smart and left where I hunt.
I've seen a couple out there. I won't tell you
I
where.
haven't heard quail in
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
while.
I haven't in years, right.
Yeah, but Donna's in the know.
I haven't heard pheasants either in quite a long time.
I assure you there's pheasant.
Yeah.
And then there's a huge black racer snake that I saw.
Oh my God, is
Trail
there
1.
ever?
At Trail 1.
That thing sent me up into the
Oh.
air.
Yep, yep.
It was.
My nephew caught it a couple years ago, and you put
Right,
that
I remember.
on the site, but I saw it on Saturday in that beautiful warm weather we had.
That's a gorgeous snake.
Oh, it
Not
is.
to Nina, but to a lot of us, it is a gorgeous
Yeah,
snake.
yeah.
Yeah, no, but
Those two words do not go together.
gorgeous and snake, not so much, okay.
Diane's pictures are good.
Okay, anything more from our staff?
No, sir?
Okay, we will go on to old business. While I was at one point in the know on conservation and beach erosion on our coastlines, that has been delegated from me, and I'm happy with that. I am not keeping up with it at this point. It seems like the ball is rolling. So any updates on that from staff?
The alternative analysis, it's
Yes, yes,
got
yes.
its own.
Yes, it's conservation.
Number 5,
Five.
Sandy Neck Beach Facility.
Everybody wants me to talk about
reconfiguration.
it. I'll be happy to talk about it.
Okay, well, that's part of the conservation and beach erosion along our, yeah.
Okay, so the plan last time we were here, I briefed everybody about the grant. Bill, you weren't here, but we did receive a grant for that. It's going to help supplement the design and permitting of our alternative analysis. We've arrived at 3 alternatives. As I mentioned last time, I'm just getting people back up to speed. And there was going to be an attempt to do outreach in the month of November. That has been delayed because upper management and town council would like it to go before the town council first. So we had to pull those meetings, those outreach meetings that I spoke about last meeting. And then it's going to be placed on the agenda with the town council, hopefully soon. I don't think they've set the agenda yet. And so once we have a date certain for the presentation to the town council, then from there, we'll be able to select dates for our public hearing. And the vision for the public hearing is 2 meetings. One's virtual, one is in person. It's going to be presenting the 3 alternatives. And there will also be a 3D rendering, which I can't quite wrap my head around, but the drone was up the other day. I did see some lovely pictures, and the 3D rendering is going to provide folks in the neighborhood from both the Sandwich side, like Leonard Road side, and the Point Hill side, as well as folks that are recreating on the public beach, a rendering of what these alternatives could look like. And so that generally, when we get to this point, at least from last time, that was a big concern for the neighborhood, is the change in the what it looks like from all those angles. So we did delegate some extra funding to do that, because we thought it was worth the while. So that plus the different alternatives are what we're going to be presenting, hopefully in December. Problem with December is we start bumping up against the holidays, so I'm really keeping a close eye on when that gets on the agenda, and I know Chris is going to let me know as soon as she knows as well.
I will make mention, as I don't spend a lot of time out there in the summer, but I do in the fall, that I am quite aware, as I've ridden down all the way to Trail 4 in my Azuzu this year, of the extent of erosion along that front beach in the last year. I think that was about the last time that I traversed that whole length. So the need to move forward with our reconfiguration plan is now. So I'm glad that's happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I also think that Leslie from Woods Hole Group has given us a really interesting perspective, something I kind of just knew in my gut, which is that these storms, are just continually, even with sand, are going to be overtopping our parking lot, and then that gets exponentially worse. So it was a little bit more of an analysis of the shoreline change that we had already received 6 years ago. So I think it's really good work. I'm really enjoying working with her, and I think she's giving excellent presentations. So
Yeah, I've been very
moving
impressed
along.
with the extra information we were being given this fall from that working group. So cool.
So will the town council get the 3 alternatives, or will they be given one, the one that's been decided?
So as of yet, one has not been decided.
Okay,
So they
so
presumably,
they will see all 3 of them.
that's the stage we're at right now. That is correct.
Wonder if that'll be too much information for them, if it's better to decide on the alternative that makes the most sense and just present that one.
Well, we're an advisory position for them, so I don't think that us selecting one, especially when the call was for us to get our 3, to make that selection on our own. I think it really should, because of its investment in a 50-year plan for our town, that they need more of the information than just what we're suggesting as a single one. So I think that having those 3 is valuable, even if it's a little bit full of information for our town councilors. I think they're capable.
Chris, you've been here through the whole thing, so.
Thank you. With every town council meeting, there's public comment. So once your plan gets revealed, there will be some feedback from the public. So it's, how do I want to say? We listen. I listen. So I don't know if that meeting will be in person or on Zoom. I know that we have had a couple of Zoom meetings because of the election. So I've been waiting. I know typically on Monday and Tuesday, the town council leadership works with the town manager to set the agenda. and it has to be posted by midday tomorrow. So there are a bunch of, there are several agenda items that got deferred to November 17th. So it depends on how crowded the agenda is, I imagine. I'm one of 13. I'm not part of the leadership, and I find out about the town council agenda when the public does. I wish it was different, but it isn't. So, so I have no advanced knowledge other than tapping my toe and wait to find out what will be before us on Thursday by tomorrow afternoon.
Good? Moving.
And I just hope that those meetings don't go too far past midnight.
Moving on to our economic sustainability. And who is our lead for that?
The chairman.
Okay, he being, and I'm the vice chair, so I don't have to worry about that. We will pass on that update. Public outreach and public use and participation.
Yeah, we have one Eagle Scout project in the development stages. A young man from Troop 54 in Centerville. We met with he and his family and Hannah a few weeks ago and did a tour of the Marsh Trail, and his basic idea that was presented to him and he's fleshing out was more benches along the Marsh Trail for walkers and birders and so forth. So we've identified 4 or 5 spots along there that might be good locations, and he's kind of putting together a plan at this point. So moving forward for the spring would be the thought on that.
I would like to comment on a bench that I think was put in 10 to 15 years ago by, I think, an Eagle Scout around Trail 1 that...
Cement posts?
Yes.
And they never should have been put on the cement posts, and
Okay.
they fell out.
Yeah,
and
good.
all of that.
So we've learned from
These
some
are,
past mistakes.
There's actually the model, the last project that went in did one bench, and they're on 4x4s down 3 feet into the ground. So if they do come out, then they are movable.
Excellent.
And you can replant them. So that's already been, the design has already accounted for that.
And the material that you're sitting on, is it not wood that will need to be revarnished or resealed, more like a plastic wood, an
It's the
AZAC?
pressure-treated
Okay.
stuff that's been used for the picnic tables and the existing bench,
Okay. Okay.
long-term stuff.
Anything else from that? Because I will potentially add some personal input on the halfway house. Been out there 3 or 4 times this fall. I do have an interest in getting my students from Sturgis back out there. They're already asking me for it. I've killed, I think, 6 to 8 mice. And I am very aware of a larger mammal that is, at least one larger mammal that's living underneath. So I know I'm working with Mr. French and staff to humanely remove that larger mammal.
Raccoon.
But yeah, raccoons really make it smell inside the halfway house. I'm hoping to get some students or myself out there with some Lysol and start to clean up the years of mice feces that have stained the floor in different places. But it is better than it was a half a year ago. So the sleeping area has been swept out, cobwebs and anything that was not stuck to the floor has been removed in all the sleeping pads and everything. So I do hope and expect, even prior to Christmas, for getting a group out there. One question with that, I do have a lot of backup battery, D-cell battery lights. I don't seem to be aware of the solar panel functioning out there.
No, that's all been shut down, the batteries, because of when the temperature drops, you don't want to lose them, so they're all in the garage on trickle charges, which they'll remain for the
Will we
winter.
be then taking that solar panel trailer then out of there for better storage, or it's fine there?
No, sir, we made a decision to leave it where it's at because the trailer is starting to get rickety, and we've almost
Oh.
lost it
Oh,
several
yeah,
times.
yep, yep.
And so we're going to try it this year. You know, you see that it's
Yes,
wrapped up.
yes.
And we'll continue to check that wrapping to make sure that it's secure, but we're going to give it and we literally don't have any room in the garage anyway.
Okay. So yeah, I will then be working off D-cell battery lights. The stove out there is not very functional. The door has rusted one of its hinges, so it's not something that you want to be using. But Mr. French and I have a plan. I have a stove, a really nice stove that can be brought out there and is light enough for two men, even at our age, I think, to be able to get in there and switch out. So
Any women to help? We're available.
And you're much younger and stronger than I am, so sold. Sold. I just got off easy. Thank you, ladies. You rose to the bait, didn't you?
We sure did.
Always.
Okay.
Pete, on that, the other thing on the halfway house is that the leadership from Troop 54 remains committed to helping and wanting to. They did a lot of the cleanup there last year.
Okay.
And so if there were.
I'm going to keep you in the loop then,
Yeah,
Bill.
there is, manpower in particular. They are very interested in being part of that process.
Excellent. So I'll put you on the tight loop for that. I ended up fixing the sill on the southeast corner of the house that wasn't really attached anymore to the house. I got some 4-inch screws that I found some boards underneath that were actually existing, so I could actually put in a screw through to it. But I think it's be up and working. So I'm really psyched about getting that back going. We are not talking about 4, and so I think we've gone through all the old businesses.
Correct.
Sold. New business, which I have right here, the annual Sandy Neck report presentation.
Does everybody have a copy? You would like it? Copy? Uh-oh.
If you need an extra one, I don't
Sorry,
know.
I did look at it when Donna sent
Here,
it out.
someone can have
so-
mine. Yep. What does that say?
I got it on email. Email.
Send it to her?
Don't show this again.
That's okay. You don't need to worry about that.
Just hit no?
Yeah.
Coming from the man who has a.
Is it, how come it says 2016? Sandy Neck Annual Report. at the
That should be
top.
2022. That's
Oh,
what,
look at that, no, that one.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that's not the right report.
I mean, I'd be happy to talk about 2016. I was much younger then.
Oh, Mr. Berger.
IT's on it.
You know what, the wrong one might have got put on there, Nina. I can only see. Sandy Neck Board.
It's possible that you have 2016 stuff up there. To date modified. Go at the top.
they do.
No, to the right. Go over one more. Hit date modified. Nope.
If you think I could read any of this, you are out of your mind.
November 14th meeting is not in there. Should be.
It's right there.
It might have been the wrong one.
If you don't mind, while they're hunting around, I'm just going to make a little announcement.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, that there will be, on Wednesday, information meeting, public information meeting on the Scudder Lane Boat Ramp. It's not directly related to Sandy Neck, but it's access to Sandy Neck. And this will be at 4 p.m. this coming Wednesday, November 16th, at the Harborview Conference Room at the Barnstable County Complex in Barnstable Village. And the purpose is of this meeting is to provide stakeholders an opportunity to review and comment on various components of the project, and that project is the renovations of the Scudder Lane landing renovation.
So Chris, 4 p.m., Barnstable Village, specifically
At
the,
the county complex, the Harborview, where the old jail was.
got it?
Oh,
We're at the top. Of the hill.
Right at the top of the hill where you go sled riding down from.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So it was specifically planned to be conducive to the stakeholders, that is, at high tide, when people who typically would use the landing would be more available than low tide, and have it in the area where the residents, closer to where the residents are. And I specifically asked that it be held before Thanksgiving, when the shellfish farmers are having a busy season selling product and buttoning down the farm for the winter. And I thank DPW for accommodating those requests.
Yeah, they'd come in front of Conservation Commission as well with the plan, and we had some input at that time. But I do request, Chris, and thank you for bringing this up, that the interested parties show up to that, because there's a fairly wide range of options that were presented to us in Concom, and some of those options we weren't so keen on.
I can tell you personally, John Novojcik, a longtime commercial shellfisherman and shellfish grower, told me before he died, he had a heart attack and passed away, but he said, please don't let them do to Scudder Lane what they did to Bay Street. And too much granite curbing, loss of parking spaces, turning radius for trailers, things like that. I'm just
Okay,
conveying
yes,
to you
yes.
that
So
those were some of the concerns from the users.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to weigh in while it's still in the pencil and paper phase.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, now we are on to new business.
We're on the right year. Thank you. All right, so this is one of those years where, as I said the other day, I think I should probably just do a mic drop and retire, because everything went really, really well. The overall is that, the plovers did well, the terrapins did well. We didn't turn any ORVs away, which is unheard of. And so I just want to point out that this is not going to happen again. So don't expect this again. I want to preface it too with the fact that there's at least 3 other beaches, off-road vehicle beaches, that had really hard years, and the managers are getting crucified in the public and on Facebook and on social media. And it's like there for the grace of God is how I feel all the time. Sandy Neck is an easier beach to manage than some of our sister beaches because she's so wide, right? Some of these beaches are just these little narrow strips. And as climate change happens and as more birds show up, it becomes harder and harder to find a spot for off-road vehicles. And someday Sandy Neck will be like that too. But right now, we're doing really well, while some of these other beaches are doing really, really poorly in terms of getting off-road vehicle access. So I just want to point that out and say, be kind, people, because
And be happy with this
there
year.
it's not the managers putting these birds in places that don't work. And so our beach did really well, and it's, staff tried really hard, but ultimately it was just the luck of the draw this year. So I hope everybody takes that to heart and is ready for a not as good of a year in the future, but we'll do our best.
We were all looking for a 10% increase across the board.
Right, I know.
On everything.
So, all right, so starting with plovers, record-breaking year for pairs. This is really typical of a lot of the beaches and the park managers that I talk to. I do a park manager group. So plovers aren't doing great. I don't see them coming off the list, but they're definitely increasing in numbers. And so we had 50 pairs this year, which is the most in written record. I'm sure there were more back in the day. So we had 50 pairs with 97 chicks fledged. So that's close to 2%, not quite, which is, it's close to two chicks per pair reproductive rate. And the goal is 1.5. So we did very well with plovers. The 2 pairs that we deterred from the first 0.5 miles of beach, both of those nests were predated and then one of them made a second attempt. So they did okay. The state's not going to frown upon us, but, you know, again, there for the grace of God, those two nests were predated by crow, I believe, if my memory is correct.
And was that second attempt successful?
That's
Okay.
correct, which brought our numbers up. They look at, so the state, when they review our habitat conservation plan, they look at the beach, and then they look at just the pair that you've done the activity on, and they want to see that the reproductive rate of those birds that we have the take on
Right.
are high enough to say that, you know, things are still cooking along. So, all right. Diamondback terrapins, we had 389 nests. If anybody knows Matt, our terrapin guy, he wanted 400. He was extremely disappointed we didn't quite get there.
Yeah. I don't know who won the pool, because we all were in a pool.
There was
on
a
that.
pool as well. Like the fire department gets involved with the pool. So 389, but you can see there that our predation was down. So my theme over the last number of years is that terrapin predation has been very high, as potentially a mink of some sort, a weasel of some sort, and that was down this year. So even though the numbers weren't quite as high, sorry, Matt, our numbers of potentially
It's
hatched
huge.
nests is very high.
Yeah.
The nesting, the Head Start program continues to do extremely well. We've capped that at a certain amount of organizations, 27 organizations. We could do 100 organizations. Everybody wants a piece of that. Pete does it.
I do it. I've been doing it for a bunch of years in my classroom. Yeah.
Super, super positive.
Kids love it.
program.
Kids love it. No. When COVID hit that spring, they came back to my house, and they were not welcome there. Turtles, tanks in May, late May, stink.
Yeah, true story.
And the kids in my classroom take care of them. I don't. I just ride herd. So I had to take care of them during COVID. And try to learn how to teach with technology. And I'm not good with technology. Exactly. I've got a question for that. You've got 142 nests that were capped. Out of the 389, did you notice any difference in survivability or lack of predation, capped versus uncapped?
So when we
Because the mink was keying in on those caps.
when we cap a nest now, we have a bucket underneath. So a new technology.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
I know. Amazing.
Put it right in the birthing order,
Right.
stick it in the ground, bucket on top, makes it easier.
Yeah, so those do well.
Yeah.
But we don't do all of them. I mean,
No.
how many
Oh, yeah.
buckets
We
can
have a lot
have?
of.
Yeah.
I actually saw some turtles out there while I was fishing this year in the harbor, so that was really pretty cool.
They're doing very well.
So you're saying the mink comes in from
Underneath.
underneath
Underneath, yeah.
and gets the eggs? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Makes like a gumball machine, is the way I
Oh.
kind of picture it. Because, you know, you can make the sand slough off and then they just roll down.
Huh, really?
I
Oh,
mean,
my God.
that's what my vision of what they're doing, but,
So you got rid of the mink, or the
No,
mink?
I don't think so.
You didn't get rid of the mink is
who
gone.
the heck knows? But this is classic ecology right here. If you follow the number of nests predated, it's like 78 and then it bumps up and it goes down. That's how ecology works. It's not the park manager. We're back to that. It's nature.
Yeah, I saw the mink on 6A and he didn't use the crosswalk.
It's like the deer don't go in the right spot
In the
either.
spring, down by the Great Marsh, down by the train
Oh.
tracks by Cape Cod,
I mean, what's to say?
if it's the same one.
Same one. All right, so turns continue. I'm sorry, Bill, did you have a
No,
question?
we do have a healthy otter population. Is there any thought if they like eggs?
I doubt it.
It's, so otter make a very clear track because they do a tail drag.
Right.
And I have not heard that from staff or seen that. And the otter are
They're
just
much
right.
bigger too, so trying to dig into a place, it'd be a much bigger, I would think, excavation. Should be significantly different than a mink. They're hugely different in size.
I don't know, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, terns continue to do very poorly. Back in the day, there was like 300 to 400 pairs, and now we're down to,
Wow.
hovering around 100 pairs, kind of on average there. The reproductive rates are very, very poor. So that's why those animals are on the list as special concern, because of their reproductive rates. I say this every year because there's terns everywhere, but they're not gonna, they're not doing well in terms of reproducing statewide. Last year, sea turtles, we didn't have any camps, is that correct?
A 0 on the camps.
I've never had that, but we had 3 loggerheads, those were fun. So not a big stranding year, I think everything went to Wellfleet again. Not happy. Moving on, we did wetland restoration this year, as I do every year. It's 20 years on this at this point, so we did both the salt marsh, which is where I ran into our snake friend, right around Trail 1, just so everybody knows if they want to really get scared. And
My
then-
dog always finds it before I do.
Woo! Yeah, so, and then we worked on freshwater wetlands, and there's a number of species there for people who are interested in wetland restoration that we're working on. All right, so enforcement, I was pretty happy with these numbers. We're gonna do the safety solutions next meeting or the meeting after? I can't remember.
January 9th.
January.
In the new year, yeah.
January, I can't remember. And so this was yet another year where we haven't crunched the numbers, but I would say anecdotally that we did really well. We didn't have that many incidents. We had a lot less alcohol issues. I think that 10 p.m. curfew is helping quite a bit. And then the good work of the staff. So when I look at these numbers, citations 34, that's about right. Again, not a lot of alcohol and very few, if any, minor possession, which was a huge topic for many, many years. 7 written warnings, those are generally letters from Nina or Hannah that says one more thing you do wrong, you're gonna be revoked. So that's usually an official letter that they get when they're hovering on the line of having a sticker revocation. Verbal warnings, 220, that's excellent, that'll be broken down for you. Likely it's a lot of speed and tire pressure and dog off leash. But again, not glass bottles, those are kind of our meat and potato verbal warnings. We had 11 permits revoked, it's about right, and no trespass. So the no trespass is usually our indication of a pretty big incident that occurs where we feel like we need to get that individual off the beach, not just their permit. So that's about where I'd like to be. I'm really pleased with staff this year, being proactive. That's what I see out of those numbers. Revenue continues to be extremely strong. As you can see, revenue is tracked by fiscal year, so it's very confusing. So when you look at fiscal year 22, it's July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. So you're not really looking at this season. You're looking at a subset of it, but you can see that we've been doing quite well, and sticker sales are up. So speaking of sticker sales, we had 4,901 permits sold. Donna, if you want to go down for the folks at home.
Actually, before you go forward,
Yes.
I think I remember at some point us making some recommendations about our town manager going to the Sandwich administration and asking for I will say it, more fair assessment of Sandwich use of our park, Sandy Neck Park. It doesn't appear, at least from July 21 to June 22, that there was any change in this arrangement.
The change in the arrangement was many years ago. And at this point.
It's still
we're
holding.
Still holding. We go up 1.2 or whatever that difference is. If you look at that line, you can see.
Yeah, but I think we had discussions here
5%.
that we thought that that was too good a deal.
I believe that's been discussed. It hasn't been formally requested that the town manager reach back out.
Okay.
I would say that discussion is probably appropriate once we start getting into the finances of the
Of
new
our
project.
new, yes, good, good,
And
good,
that's
good, good,
generally
good.
the right time to
Good.
have that conversation.
Okay, but we're not gonna forget it. Sold.
Okay.
I have one other question on the revenue. Just looking at the cottage lease fees, and it seems to me as if, because the no leases have been renegotiated and they're coming up again in a couple of years.
Yeah, what's going
But
on?
it would, I'm curious as to why it's so high in fiscal year '22, because there hasn't been any change to the makeup of the leases.
Yeah,
Right, so I actually posed that question to David Anthony when I created this matrix. So first of all, 2021 is low because there was rent forgiveness. So we had rent forgiveness during COVID, which is when that would have shown up. And then 2022, they were gonna have they were gonna break it up for me, but it didn't happen by this meeting. But a couple of things that they're suggesting is going on there. There was a cottage that was well in the rears. And so that was partially what that number is,
This is actual revenue.
the actual revenue. And the other problem is where the part is like right when the money's coming in.
yeah,
So
so just the
sometimes it
date.
gets all
There's a
skewed.
January one and there's a July one, the way the leases are set up.
So it really just depends on when it gets deposited. So I was really curious about that as well, but I think that's an anomaly.
Thank you.
I thought that Bill was going to ask me that question.
Oh, you beat
doesn't
me-
care about
you
leases.
beat me to it. No, I would just have assumed that it was because it was collected, not collected in 2021 as opposed to being collected double the amount in 2022 is what it looks like to me.
Because really, the sum of 21 and 22 is about very close to the
Getting
sum of
close.
19 and 20
Yeah.
with, so whenever you get the check in.
Are we good on revenue? Okay, so sticker sales were up this year, 4,901. Thank you, Donna, for doing that.
Sure. There's more than that now. This was as of October. So we've had very brisk, nice sales for the off-season have been great. A lot of hunters, but a lot of people just wanting to get stickers. So I'm going to be curious to see at the end of the year what we actually did.
And you can see there, if everything's going up because we have such a beautiful beach. It's so wonderful, and we had so much beach available. But the really interesting thing is the non-resident, which is the discussion that we've been having, right? People are coming from off Cape. And that's part of, this decision-making that we had for charging them a little more appropriately as compared to other beaches. So we're definitely a very popular spot, and some of that is driven by some of these other beaches having really rough years.
Has there ever been an attempt to see where all those non-residents are in fact coming from?
It's, everything's digital, so it's super easy to do at this
Yeah.
point.
I'm just wondering if it's the immediately surrounding towns, like Sandwich
Yeah,
and
certainly.
Mashpee and
I used to have to go through the envelopes.
Falmouth, yeah.
Because we used to set the envelopes up and they would be
yeah,
spit
right.
out to me by zip code. So I've actually kind of done this, but it was years ago. And yeah, like Sandwich is a ton.
It must be most of it.
Yarmouth is a
Yeah.
ton. But I mean, it is far afield,
New York,
New York,
Boston, a lot of Boston, a lot of New Hampshire, quite a
People
few
renting
Rhode
second
Island.
homes.
Yeah,
Yep,
ton of that.
coming down for a week.
Yeah.
So and I mean, when you think about it, if you're going on a whale watch, how much it would cost a family of 4 to just go on one whale watch, right?
Yeah.
And these guys get a sticker and they're going to use it every day for a week, have a campfire at night,
Yeah,
loving it.
yeah, yeah. Can I back up? You said we were done with revenue. I did have a question, though, on the beach concessions. $2,500. And I remember in the past, you said something about kind of like a rent forgiveness. Is that still going on? You know, with the
Beach
concession stand?
So
$2,500,
so fiscal year,
22.
yeah, 22, I'd have to look into why that's that. It
Well, in the
shouldn't be.
previous year's 5,200, so it looks like it was a lease agreement probably. And then something happened in 21, which would coincide
COVID,
with
yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, 21 was
So-
the rent forgiveness. 22, I think you're still looking at some of the rent forgiveness there.
Okay.
That's probably what's going on, but I can double check that.
Is that,
But
What-
our lease, the lease is about 5,000 plus a little bit
Okay.
more every year. So it should come in right around the 5.4
it's tied into profits? So it's a
Oh.
base plus,
plus profits, right?
okay. Seems like a good deal for a concession. In such a great location.
Yeah, I think concessionaires are struggling. It's probably, I think it's really hard to run a business that quickly and make a profit. And so it's hard to get a concessionaire everywhere. Yep. All right, so camping nights, 3,773. I'm gonna point out that includes chase nights, so it's just about right. With the last few years. Escorts, 18, which is amazing. I always say this is what conservation gets really happy about, is that we're keeping the escorts down. And the plover and tern and terrapin numbers up, so I think we could call that a success. So escorts are, for those of you who don't understand, this is the cottage owner escorts on down the front beach. The cottage owners mostly are going down the marsh trail, which reduces the probability of a plover being hit. So we want to have a low number here. That's what we're looking for. Hunting is going on right now. Tent camping, 201 nights. So that's a lot. That got loose on the internet. We close it in July because it's just too much and it's too buggy. So it's a mixed bag for us. It's really certainly not a moneymaker, but it's also one of those passive recreational opportunities that we are committed to. Campfire permits, 455. Yes, they are popular, people. Very. Two-wheel drive test, 24 tests for the two-wheel drive tests. Special wedding permits, mostly weddings. Again, thank you, Donna. 46 of those. Daily horse permits, only 17. Really, the horse stuff has settled right down ever since there was one or two companies that were there all the time. And they were really the only ones doing it. Now we just have a handful of horses in the stables. Walks and talks, we're back on that with COVID being done. I wonder what BACC is. Barnstable, Donna?
Adult Community Center.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
One, that was Donna, did that one?
Hannah did it this year.
And did this year. Barnstable Land Trust, 4 of those, and then 3 Mass Audubon, so that's us teaming up with them. It's my staff, or our staff, doing the walk, but having those organizations with us as well, and doing the outreach for them. Beach cleanups, one in BBA, thank you, Mass Beach Buggy Association, 1 Coast Sweep, and 2 Center for Coastal Studies beach cleanups. We did our Junior Ranger program again this year. Hannah does an amazing job with the Junior Rangers. And we had a Junior Ranger working for us this year.
For free.
No.
He's graduated to be paid now.
Graduated to be
Yes,
paid,
he was a
good.
little guy a number of years ago, and now he's going into environmental science. And
Congratulations.
he's an outstanding young
that's
man.
great.
He's finishing up. He's
San
a
Antonio?
senior at Barnstable High School.
Senior at Barnstable High School, yeah.
So it's a
No.
really,
No. Owen,
Owen, I have not met
Yep.
him yet.
yeah.
yeah, you will love him.
He loved the turtles, loved the whole thing. So
How many students?
How many students do we have? There's a limit. I want to say
There's a
12.
limit of 12, and I think I think one just dropped out. So that goes through, that's all booked through recreation, and then they send us the list of who we're getting, and then they go through the program, so, yeah.
Is it daily or
It's
every other day? or-
every Tuesday for, was it 5 sessions? 5 or 6 sessions, and they get to do a whole bunch of really cool things. And then they get a certificate, and they have to swear to be conservationists, and they really eat it up with a spoon. So it's a really, really cool program for the kids. And Hannah did a great job because it was 112 degrees out there. So, making sure the kids are hydrated and so forth. And on the super hot days, we did some stuff that it was under tenting, so they didn't die. We didn't want to kill any kids. We want them all arrive alive. But they really, really, really like it. The program always fills up fast. And it's just a great program because it invests the kids in Sandy Neck.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's too bad it's only 12. Seems like a
That's
low,
well,
small,
when you think
tiny
about
number.
one staff member, for the most part, handling the 12,
Yeah, that's the max.
that.
Being a teacher, don't. Let her live.
This is
Yeah.
elementary age,
I believe that 9 to 12, yeah.
9 to 12, okay.
Yeah.
Middle school.
It's like herding butterflies in a windstorm
Oh, yeah.
sometimes, so, yeah. Hannah does a great job.
July is the hottest, buggiest month, so. Halfway house, 1 permit, 9-day trips, so more. We still want
Still want
more.
more.
We're still
Yeah.
working on that. And 6 portable toilets on the beach. I know you guys understand how much conservation is that one too, because it's good for the environment, and back in the day, we didn't have that, so,
And that
Whole
honey wagon you
program.
have.
oh my
It's a
God, the honey
beast.
man. People would stop and take pictures of
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a year on 3 pages.
So the halfway house permits, that's not many,
It's
Right.
9 events out there. That's what that means.
9-day trips, 9 events.
9 events, yeah. Plus Pete's starting.
Yeah,
up.
and I will mention to you, if you've not been in there, I'm sort of surprised that
described it.
people, use that for 9 days, because it was a friggin' mess when I went in there in September. And it didn't get that, we're not investing a lot of time to keep it clean for anyone who wants to use it. Essentially, I've always expected that if Sturgis wants to use it, we clean it before we get there.
Yeah, it can't be used very much if you've got raccoons living there.
It's part of the charm.
Okay, we're on to matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Seeing none, we'll go back to any public comment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned at 7:50.